My mum trying to get me out of bed as a teenager.
I call you doggone! You come down from your place of authority, destroyer. You come down and you crawl on your belly.
Me every morning when I look in the bathroom mirror.
Bald spots, I call you gone. Hair grow.
And this is me responding to a troll comment in one of my videos.
I blow the wind of God.
The wind of God.
On you.
On you.
You are destroyed forever.
You are destroyed forever.
And you'll never be back.
Hello guys, welcome back to the show. Sorry for the slightly subpar sound quality on this video. My microphone wasn't plugged in, so this is the microphone from the camera. Whoops. So today we're going to look at three repulsive, obnoxious, horrific fragrances. Well, not really. We're going to look at three very polarizing fragrances. Three fragrances that could be regarded as somewhat obnoxious and clearly are by some people, judging by reviews. So it could be a fun topic. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. If you're going to enjoy this video, I really want you to consider subscribing at the end of the video. Also, if you want a fragrance that definitely isn't obnoxious, check out our new release from my brand, Naughton & Wilson. The fragrance is called Chypre Fulminare. We have had incredible reviews for this stunning new release from our perfumer, John Stephen, a really strident, bold and masculine Chypre fragrance for the 21st century. All right, guys, so let's talk about obnoxious smells. There's one that I don't own, and I don't want. Let's talk about this topic, okay? So when you buy a fragrance, of course, why on earth would anyone make a fragrance that is obnoxious or heavily polarizing or that smells funky? We've heard many people talk about pissy smells in fragrance, fecal smells, barnyard smells. What is going on here? Well, you know, naughty and nice, it's a fine line in life between pleasure and pain. And so there are a lot of things in life that smell a little bit rotten, a little bit funky, or even taste a little bit funky. Think about blue cheese or something like that. And yet there's something kind of rather nice about those in a way too, something appealing about them. And it's just like that with the fragrances. We can all wear a nice Acqua di Gio or, you know, Creed Aventus or Dior Sauvage that smell fresh and fruity, but some people want something a little bit more unctuous. And I guess when you think about it, maybe there's certain smells in life to do with intercourse, sexual intercourse, that are not exactly the most pleasant, the most edifying aromas in and of themselves, but may even have a positive connotation in the human subconscious. And hence, we have fragrances that reflect that. Let's get stuck into it, not fucked into it. Let's get sucked into it? No, stuck in. Let's get stuck into it. That would be much better. First up then, I don't own this. It's État Libre d'Orange Secretions Magnifique. This is a 2006 release. Perfumer there is Antoine Lee. So the brand État Libre d'Orange and Secretions Magnifique does kind of what it says on the, well, whether it's magnifique, I don't know, but it smells of bodily secretions, okay? The actual note listing is adrenaline accord, blood accord, coconut, iodine accord, milk accord, apopanax, sandalwood, sea salt, and seaweed. Online, I found on Fragrantica the following description of how they say it smells. Hang on to your hats, folks. Like blood, sweat, sperm, and saliva, this disturbing perfume is an ode to the pinnacle of sexual pleasure, that extraordinary moment when desire triumphs over reason on the razor's subversive edge. It's love or hate at first sight. And I'm afraid, guys, it's a long time since I had a little sniff of this, but it basically, yeah, it's a work of art. It's something you buy to have as a novelty piece. I can't imagine why anyone would wear this on their skin. Let's see what the famed perfume reviewer and erstwhile reviewer, because she doesn't upload anymore, Katie Puckrick, said about it.
Oh, that is really bad. Okay, it's really metallic. It's metallic. It smells like a crime scene, is what it smells like. There should be police tape around this right now, around my little chair. Oh no! Why? It's just metallic. It's metallic and milky, and oh, that is so disgusting.
Couldn't have put it much better myself, so let me know if you've tried that one. Let's move on then. Obvious choice next. This is, you know, I think this is a masterpiece, but it is a polarizing fragrance, and people often talk about pissy smells, and this kind of quote comes up a lot with this one. So this is Yves Saint Laurent's Kouros, and this was a 1981 release. It is regarded as an 80s powerhouse. Let's see what perfume critic Luca Turin says about this one. In his famous book here, Perfumes the A to Z Guide, he actually gives it 5 stars, describing it as a musky fougere. So this is Yves Saint Laurent's Kouros, and here we go. It smells like the tanned skin of a guy with gomina in his hair stepping out of the shower wearing a pre-World War I British dandified fragrance, citrus flowers and musks. Now that doesn't sound too bad, but then he says this: it has that faintly repellent, clean, dirty feel of other people's bathrooms and manages to smell at once scrubbed and promissory of an unmade bed. So it's a full of contrast fragrance, huge note listing, which I won't go into, but you've got civet, which is an animalic kind of note from a certain cat's nether regions. You've got a heavy dose of musks, and you've also got a kind of honey note in there, which gives it a kind of a tiny little bit of sweetness, but it's a funky, again, you know, honey comes from bees, it's a tiny bit animalic. And it has these clean, soapy notes as well. So it's a really, really fascinating, daring fragrance. It has a kind of sexual, masculine undertone, and almost faint hints of, people do talk about urinal cakes or the toilet, okay? And here's a quote from Fragrantica to give you an example. And here's a quote from Fragrantica, and here's a quote from Fragrantica. 90s Europe, and you just went to one of those dirty public toilets, you know, with those soaps that look like they've been sitting there for 10 years, dry, chipping away, just the nastiest, cheapest soap imaginable. This is an extract of that. It's indistinguishable for me, just an old, cheap soap smell, or alternatively, urinal cakes, if you like. Very interesting and nostalgic in a way, but not in a good way, I think, for most of the population. Maybe just as a display bottle. God knows when this will wear off my wrist. And when I featured this in my recent video about my top 10 most iconic fragrances, someone said in the comments, Kouros is the most disgusting thing I've ever smelled in perfumery. I think it's great, but it is bold, it is polarizing, and it is daring, hence Obnoxious. If you can get the vintage version, it's more so. It's a little bit more sedate in the modern, but still not far off. Okay, finally then, we're going to do a more modern release, and this was a 2021 release, and it comes from the very reputed house of Bortnikov. It's called Lao Oud. This is incredibly expensive. 50 mils of this cost you $350 on Lucky Scent. The note listing is magnolia and pink pepper in the top, middle notes of cacao, chamomile, and Peru balsam, my favorite type of balsam, plus beeswax and cinnamon. And then in the base, you've got different types of oud, vanilla, coffee, tonka, and birch tar. So of course, some of the oud coming from Laos. And this is a different story here. We've talked about musks and animalic accords. Oud is this other thing that can smell exotic, it can smell rich, it can smell seductive, but it is a very pungent, rotten wood thing. It's a rotten type of wood, agar wood, that produces oud chips that are used in the Middle East, and this, therefore, it is a very funky type of accord. When you use the real thing, and when you put a lot of it in there, it can really get barnyardish. This is described as an animalic barnyard take on oud. There are complex florals, there's sweetness in there. This coffee thing gives it a kind of creamy, sort of, you know, a tiny bit of gourmandishness, but underneath that, it does smell kind of a little bit like that smell when you drive out in the country and you drive past the farmyard with the manure. And yet, I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance. It's a real characterful, potent, exotic, and very, very daring fragrance. As you can see, I don't wear it very often, and yeah, as it smells like cow dung, cow's pats, a little bit, despite being very good as a masterful, complex composition. It's a handle with care fragrance. So guys, let me know what you think about these Obnoxious gems. Comment down below. We had one 80s one, couple from the 21st century. I'd like your thoughts on that. Are Obnoxious fragrances pointless, or do you own and enjoy them? Let me know in the comments down below. See you in the next video. Remember, whatever you're doing in life, let's project. And sometimes life may stink, but at least we can always smell good.